Hello everyone. So I welcome you all to this platform of KGS. Now today we have a very important news to discuss, and that is about the world's first nuclear powered hydrogen production facility. This is something which has been started in India, and it is considered as a revolutionary step towards green and clean energy in India. So we will try to see that what is this process, what are the technicalities which are involved in this, what other sources of hydrogen production are there commonly in India and in the world. At the same time, we will see that what type of nuclear energy has been used in this part. Okay. So let us try to understand all these things one by one. First of all, when we are talking about this, see, when we are talking about this one thing, this is the news that India has launched world's first nuclear powered, nuclear heat based hydrogen production facility. India has produced the world's first nuclear power based, heat based hydrogen production facility. This is the news which is there. This is the news article which is there. Now, the thing is, like how this works when we are talking about this nuclear energy based hydrogen production, how this works. So, let us try to understand it one by one. See, when we are talking about this, what we are basically doing, we are having a fast breeder reactor. We are having a fast breeder reactor. This is a type of nuclear reactor. This is a type of nuclear reactor. We will talk about this specifically, that what is fast breeder reactor. But right now, just try to understand this. This is a nuclear reactor. And using this nuclear reactor, we are generating what? We are generating heat. We are generating heat. And using this heat, what we are trying to have? We are trying to have a copper chloride we are trying to have a copper chloride thermochemical cycle. We are trying to have a copper chloride thermochemical cycle. So we are having a thermochemical cycle. So we have to understand two things here. First of all, we will try to understand what is this fast breeder reactor. Then we will also try to understand that what is this copper chlorine thermochemical cycle which leads to the generation of hydrogen. And then we will also try to understand that what is the possible benefit which we may have if we are trying to have this hydrogen production in this manner. So let us try to see this one by one. First of all, let us talk about this fast breeder reactor. Achha, let me tell you one more thing. This facility, it has been done by the Department of Atomic Energy. The Department of Atomic Energy. Plus, there is also involvement of Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Okay. These two institutions are involved in this process, and we are having this Indira Gandhi Council for Research facility, which is there in this Kalpakkam, from where we are having this nuclear power plant which is generating the heat, and that is one thing which is being used for the thermochemical cycle of copper chloride. Okay. So let us try to understand that how this fast breeder reactor works. Okay. There are three parts here. One thing is, it is called as fast, then it is called as breeder, then it is called as reactor. So reactor means a nuclear reactor. When we are talking about that it is a reactor, so it means it is a nuclear reactor. And nuclear reactor means it is having the process of nuclear fission. This is having a process of nuclear fission. It is having a process of nuclear fission. I think you all may be aware about this. There are two types of reaction, a fission reaction and a fusion reaction. The fusion reaction, which is common in case of stars, and fission reaction in which a larger nucleus splits into two smaller nuclei. So here we see that we are having a fission reaction. So this is a reactor. A nuclear reactor means the one in which a nuclear fission will take place in order to generate heat, and that heat is also used to generate electricity. It is also used to generate electricity. So here we see that this one produces heat. This one produces heat, and this heat is used to form steam, and this steam is used to rotate. This is used to rotate turbine, and when turbine rotates in a magnetic field, then we see that there is generation of electricity. There is generation of electricity. So what we see that this copper chloride reaction will also be done from here itself. But when we talk about a normal nuclear reactor, what happens there? We are having a fission reaction. Fission reaction generates enormous amount of heat. That heat is used to turn the water into steam. That steam passes through a turbine. The turbine rotates in a magnetic field. There is a rotation of the conductor, and that one helps in generating the electricity. You might have read the same concept in class 10th. In class 10th, you have to read two things. One is the working principle of a motor, and the second thing is working principle of a generator. The generator which generates electricity. So here what we see that we are having that same principle utilized here, that when a conductor is moving in an electric field, it leads to the generation of electricity. So that is one thing which we see here in the process of nuclear fission. Let's come back to it. So here the first thing is it is a reactor. It is a nuclear reactor which is generating electricity. Then we see that it is called as fast. Why fast? Normally in a case of a nuclear reactor, we are having some moderator. What is the role of moderator? Moderator is there to slow down the rate of reaction. Means it is slowing the neutrons. Moderator has a simple rule. It slows down the speed of the neutrons. So in a fast breeding reactor, it is called as fast because there is no such moderator. Okay. So there is no moderator which is present there. In case of a normal reactor, a normal pressurized heavy water reactor or boiling water reactor, we are having a moderator. But here we are not having a moderator. Now take a pause here. Pause the video for 10 seconds, 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I have a question for you. This is something which you have to give answer right now in the comment box. The question is quite simple. What are the common moderators which are used in the nuclear power plants? Give the answer right now. At the end of the session, I will discuss the answer for this. But pause the video for a few seconds and give the answer. I have another question. If you know, also tell me what are the objectives of the National Hydrogen Mission. In prelims 2026, there was a question around this. 50 million metric ton of greenhouse gas abatement. So there was a question around that. That was one of the objectives. But there are other objectives of this National Hydrogen Mission. So take a pause, answer this. At the end of this video, I will be discussing the answer for these two questions. Now, come back here. We are having it as a breeder reactor. So what is the meaning of something? Breed means to generate something, to produce something. So this is a breeder reactor. It means it is able to produce something. It is able to generate something. So what it is generating? When we are talking about this reactor, you will see that it is having a fuel. It is having a fuel which is mix of uranium-238 plus plutonium-239. This is something which is fertile and this is something which is fissile. Fertile means the one which cannot go through a sustained chain reaction by itself. Whereas fissile material means the one material which can go through a sustained chain reaction on its own by just having a little bit of energy. So the fuel which is used here is basically plutonium-239 and uranium-238. But see, in this fast breeder reactor, what we see that uranium-238 gets converted into plutonium-239. Means the fertile material is becoming what? It is becoming a fissile material. So the end product of this fast breeder reactor is that this one undergoes the process of fission. This plutonium-239 undergoes the process of fission. From here, when the neutrons are coming out from the plutonium-239, it is absorbed by the uranium-238. And as a result, what we see, it gets converted in the form of what? Plutonium-239. It gets converted in the form of plutonium-239. So we are getting a fissile material. We are getting a fissile material from this reactor. So that's why it is called as a breeder reactor. Fast, it is called as fast breeder reactor. Fast, why fast? Because there is no neutron. Breeder, why? Because it is generating a fissile material. And reactor, because it is a nuclear reactor having a nuclear fission reaction. So that is the first part which we have discussed here. That is the first part which we have discussed, that what is a fast breeder reactor. Now, coming to the second part, we are also saying that there is a copper chloride thermochemical cycle. So what is the meaning of it? See, this is a very important thing here. In this copper chloride thermochemical cycle, what we have initially we are having this copper chloride in a solid form. We are having a copper chloride in a solid form. Now this one is reacting with what? It is reacting with steam, and the temperature is around 375 to 400 degrees Celsius. In other forms of making, like in the iodine based hydrogen formation, there is sulfur iodine type reaction is also there, where we are forming hydrogen. So that requires 700 to 800 degrees Celsius temperature. But in the comparison to that, in the copper chloride thermochemical cycle, there's a requirement of 350 to 500 degrees Celsius temperature. So a better thermal efficiency can be seen here. So now see, the copper chloride, it reacts with the steam. The solid copper chloride reacts with the steam. It leads to the formation of copper oxychloride and hydrogen chloride gas. Then we see this copper oxychloride, it is now heated to the temperature up to 500 degrees Celsius, and from here it decomposes into molten copper chloride and releases pure oxygen. So from here we are getting the copper chloride, the molten copper chloride. Okay, so we are getting 2CuCl. We are getting a molten copper chloride solution and pure oxygen gas. So this is the second stage. Then after this, what we see, there is the third stage. What is that third stage? Now we are having this copper chloride solution. We are adding the HCl. Earlier you have seen the HCl. So we have got the HCl and the temperature here is 25 to 80 degree, a normal temperature. Then we see that from here we are getting what? 2CuCl. From here we are getting the CuCl. Okay, and we are getting the hydrogen gas. Now again this CuCl2, which is in aqueous state, it gets converted into CuCl2 solid stage. So the aqueous copper chloride, it gets converted again in the form of a solid copper chloride. Now see, what is the first process? The first process has started with solid copper chloride. Here, solid copper chloride structure has started. That was the first phase. And what is the end product? We are again getting the solid copper chloride structure. So same thing can be used again and again and again. And we can have production of what? We can have production of hydrogen gas. So we see that there is no such release of carbon dioxide. There is no such release of carbon dioxide. See the 4 steps one by one again. We see the first step, solid carbon chloride passing through the steam gets converted to copper oxychloride plus HCl. See the HCl here. Now the second stage, this copper oxychloride, it gets molten in form of copper chloride. And there is release of oxygen. There is release of oxygen. Now when it cools down, what we see, this aqueous plus the hydrochloric acid, the aqueous one, it again leads to formation of copper chloride aqueous plus hydrogen gas. So here the hydrogen is released at the cathode. Hydrogen gets released at the cathode. We get the production of hydrogen without any release of carbon dioxide, without any release of any harmful gases. And then what we see, that again we have got the same product. We have got the copper chloride in a solid phase. The same thing can be repeated again and again, and we can be having the production of hydrogen gas. We can have the production of hydrogen gas in an environmentally sustainable manner. So that is the beauty here. Now what we see, when we are talking about this, so what are the benefits here? First of all, we are reducing the fossil fuel dependence. In a normal copper production cycle like sulfur iodine or others, if we are depending, even in the copper chloride, if we are depending on the coal or the fossil for the heat generation, it is going to be challenging. So here what we are using? Here we are using the nuclear power. Here we are using the nuclear power. So there is a reduction on the fossil fuel dependence. It is eliminating the greenhouse gas emission. There is zero emission during the production process. And once we have got the hydrogen fuel itself is a clean fuel. Hydrogen fuel has also been called as the fuel of the future. It can be used for the clean industrial plants also, for vehicles also, for flights also. We have a hydrogen powered train also in India. So hydrogen can be used as a fuel for multiple purposes. From the industries to the transport sector, we can use it. So we can be achieving our decarbonization goals. We can be achieving our decarbonization goals. It can help in long-term sustainable development. It can help in reducing the fossil fuel dependence. It can help in saving the forex reserve. We have seen the depreciation of currency in the last few months. So it can help us in also controlling that huge expenditure of the forex reserve. So these are the possible benefits of having a nuclear energy based hydrogen production in India. Now, like I have asked you this question in the beginning, that what are some other methods of hydrogen production? We are having one steam methane reformation. Now in the steam methane reformation, we are using natural gas methane as an input. But in this case, we are having a carbon dioxide emission. So that's why it is called as a gray hydrogen. But we have alternative also. We have a blue hydrogen which is associated with carbon capture and storage. So here again, we are having the same process. We can have the methane reformation, but in this process, we are capturing the carbon dioxide and we are storing it underground. So this hydrogen is gray hydrogen, but if we are having a carbon capture and storage, this is called as blue hydrogen. Then we are also having a green hydrogen. Suppose we are going for electrolysis of water. We are going for electrolysis of water and we are using the electricity from renewable sources of energy. If we are using the electricity from renewable sources of energy, then that is what we call as a green hydrogen. So hydrogen obtained from electrolysis of water using the electricity from the renewable energy sources, that is what we call as green hydrogen. Then we have a bio-derived hydrogen also. So here we are having biomass gasification. This releases carbon dioxide, but not that much. So that is our biohydrogen. And then we are having coal gasification also. We are having a coal gasification also, where we see that coal is being used, this is being purified and we get the hydrogen. But this one leads to carbon dioxide emission. It is called as brown or black. It is called as brown or black hydrogen. So we have brown hydrogen, we have gray hydrogen, we have blue hydrogen, we have green hydrogen. We also have some other things like yellow hydrogen, pink hydrogen. So pink hydrogen, yellow hydrogen and other sources are also there. Yellowish, which is mainly related to solar, pink, which is related to nuclear again. So this is one of the part that what are the different types of hydrogen production. Now, see this one thing. When we are talking about this, I have asked you this question, what are the common moderators? So we have some common moderators like light water, heavy water, graphite. Light water, heavy water and graphite, they are the commonly used moderators in our nuclear power plants. So tell me, how many of you have given the correct answer? So this is the first part of the question. Then the second part was the National Green Hydrogen Mission. So here we are having an aim that we want to establish India as a leading producer and exporter of green hydrogen. We are also having a targets for 5 million metric ton of hydrogen production. We also aim to reduce 50 million metric ton of greenhouse gases by 2030. There is also a prospect of job creation and decarbonization. So these are some of the aim of this National Green Hydrogen Mission. So that is this part, nuclear energy based green hydrogen production. So I think this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching this. All the best. Thank you.